looks shiny and everything is set, but sustainability of this going forward, will they still depend on the national government to go down to Wajir to push some of the things he's suggesting that they need to do? And what is the place of the county administration, or devolution for that matter, in this? If they fail to pick up from the kind of mega projects or infrastructure projects that the national government has taken there, specifically because Madaraka Day was coming up and they needed to do a few things.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Fred, it's important for us to understand that the challenges of devolution are not limited to northern Kenya. Yeah. When devolution has had its challenges, they are the same challenges in Migori, they are the same challenges in every other county. So pushing the northern Kenya leaders to a corner as though they were supposed to perform a miracle using devolution is, in my view, not being very fair to them. We can be able to discuss them in the larger aspect of what are the challenges of devolution. And those challenges will be from northern Kenya to any other place. Remember, there has been severally ranking of even the performance of governors in Kenya. Those governors in northern Kenya have not ranked among the worst. In fact, those who have ranked among the worst are people like Siaya Governor James Orengo, Wavinya Ndeti, and even Nairobi. So it is not true to imagine that the leadership of northern Kenya has been the worst. And that is something that is advanced, especially by Rigathi Gachagua, to be able to score political bonga points. The truth is that you develop from where you are. We have been able to say that there has been historical injustices before. That means at the advent of devolution, that's about 15 years ago, if I'm not wrong, where does Mandera County begin? Where does Wajir County begin? And where does Nairobi County begin? They don't begin at the same footing. And that's why if 16, 15 years later, what they have done there might look insignificant to those of us who are this side, because they might not even have gotten to where some of the counties were 20, 30 years ago. And that is not supposed to mean that they are doing nothing. It is just to mean that they are coming from a farther place. That is why, Fred, there are some constituencies in Kenya where CDF can be used to provide food for the children in school and to build tiles and give schools tiles. But in some of the constituencies in Kenya, the same CDF must be used to first of all build the school because the school didn't exist. But some other member of parliament is beginning from existence of a school. And so what does the school need? It needs tiles. But some other person is beginning from, there is no school in the first place. So we must be able to understand that context, and that will be able to help us appreciate what these people have been able to do. We are talking about a northern frontier that I was listening to the speeches yesterday, and the governor is saying at one point they had one doctor in the entire county. So when those people now have 77 doctors, it is quite an achievement for them. But how many doctors does Nairobi County have? So when you make the comparison, you'd think, if you did not know where they are coming from, you would think there is laziness that side. But if you get to understand context, you'll know that they have traveled a journey. So it is not that we are beginning all of us at the same place. So the challenges of devolution must be discussed as devolution challenges and not Northern Kenya challenges. And we must also be able to understand the context that, you know what, at the end of the day, the national government still controls the large chunk of development of Kenya. I think it's 85% still remains with the national government. And that's why every place that the president goes, when the leaders stand up to speak, including the governors, you'll see them requesting for something. When the president is in Kisii, you'll be able to see Honorable Simba Arati saying, would want one more road that comes from here to somewhere else. When the president is somewhere, you'll still hear the governors talking about some of these things. That simply shows you that yes, there is devolution, there is what devolution has been able to do, but there is still a large chunk that still must be allocated here in at the executive level, and the national parliament here must be able to also be fair enough. The people in charge of the budget, the people in charge of our finances at the parliament, because they are the ones who allocate resources, they must be able to not only look fair, but they must actually be fair enough in that attribute. We would want that when they are discussing the budget, we want to see heated debates in parliament where they're able to say, wait a minute, but how much of this budget is going to Northern Kenya?
Mm-hmm. And they do have representatives in parliament as well. It's
Exactly.
not just the county administration.
Exactly.
18.
They do have representatives, that is true. But we must also remember that every parliamentarian is not just a representative of their own constituency. When they get into parliament, they become Kenyan legislators. That is when we talk about the parliamentarians and the senators, we don't just fix them to their area. So it is a question of all of us. So yes, they have a higher responsibility because that's where they come from. They have the higher responsibility. But it's our responsibility, all of us as leadership, to be able to say, you know what, this country has not come from the same place. Yeah. Can we be able to allocate, if you're talking about hospitals, because some of the regions in Kenya, Fred, are not developed because their leaders were better. Yeah. For instance, Kiambu County does not have more hospitals because they had better leadership. No, it is because of proximity to Nairobi. When Rigathi Gachagua argues and says that their schools, they have developed their schools and so other people must also develop theirs. Mangu High School and all these other schools have not been developed by the leaders of Central Region. They have not been developed by Mount Kenya. No, they have been developed by national government. That's why they're called national schools. So it is because of their proximity and resources have been allocated more that side. Kenyatta National Referral Hospital is not a product of Kiambu County government. It is a product of national government, but it is domiciled in Kiambu. Yes. Kenyatta University.
Because I don't want this to look like a competition between North and
exactly.
and others.
Exactly.
Because now I'm talking about